Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Chael Sonnen to defeat Damian Maya. And he did. The man never lost. All right, next up we have Niko Price versus Alex Morono. Niko Price, this is actually a rematch. Niko knocked Alex out 7 years ago. In the final seconds of round two. He stepped forward and really tried to make something happen after a fight in which he was dominated largely by Alex Morono. And he did make something happen. Threw enough hooks, and one of them clipped Morono, and Morono went down. He was out. And the fight was a knockout victory for a few days, and then it was overturned when Niko tested positive for reefer. We're talking about reefer here. Dangerous shit. So they overturned it. It's a no contest, but we all remember, and that is a nice little wrinkle to this fight. Since then, they've both had good but not great UFC careers. But any sort of a UFC career is a great MMA career. These guys have both stayed afloat in the UFC for 7+ years since then, and they've both had their share of moments. Niko Price has had some funky knockouts. He's the guy who knocked out Randy Brown with hammer fists from his back, knocked out James Vick with an up kick, and he knocked out Tim Means with a hook. That one's not as exotic, but he's a very dangerous fighter, is my point. And Alex Morono, he's maybe deceptively dangerous. He's a guy that I always thought wasn't respected for his danger, but he is certainly the less dangerous fighter between the two in this matchup. Although, when you combine their danger with each fighter's health, I think Morono would be more likely to get the knockout, to be honest here. The thing is, I expect Morono to win. A gun to my head, I'd pick him to win a decision. I also think he's probably got the better chance of getting the knockout and the submission as well. So I'm just playing Alex Morono here at minus 240 or whatever it is, minus 238. I played Alex Morono, but it's also because Niko Price, I can isolate his path to victory to one thing, and that is knockout. There is no way he wins by submission or decision here. Although if it's a decision, it's because he nearly knocked him out on at least two occasions. But Niko Price is at a significant speed disadvantage here. Morono throws the faster strikes themselves, and he's also got much more agility on his side. He's got the faster footwork as well. So I think Morono is going to be winning all of the small moments here. And again, despite Niko being more dangerous, Morono could shut his lights out because Niko has lost 5 times by knockout. And in his last 2 fights, he's been knocked out. Phil Rowe got him out of there in round 3, which was an excellent battle. And Niko almost had Phil out of there in round 3. But Phil survived and then turned it around. And in his last fight, I should say, he lost to Robbie Lawler in Robbie's retirement fight, which was just phenomenal. Love seeing it, and I'm a big Niko Price fan, but come on, I'm a big Robbie Lawler fan as well. But that wasn't a good look. I mean, you don't have to tell me that Robbie Lawler hits hard, but Niko looked a little fragile there. He got roughed up with some short hooks, uppercuts really from the clinch, and he collapsed. He looked like a fighter whose chin is going to fail him in the future, to be honest. And again, it's failed him 5 times already. But Morono's chin has failed him 4 times already as well. He's been knocked out 3 times, and then the one no contest, of course, the Niko Price, which I count as a fourth. He was TKO'd earlier in his career, and then in the UFC, we've seen Chaos Williams steamroll him in 30 seconds, and Santiago Ponzinibbio, who ruined the Alex Morono moment, where he stepped up on short notice and was taking it to Ponzinibbio and was a few minutes away from a victory, and Ponzinibbio clipped him. But still, despite suffering his share of losses, they've been spread out, and I do think Morono is the healthier fighter here, even though he's got to stand up to a more dangerous fighter in Niko Price. But yeah, my faith in Niko Price It was there when he was fighting Robbie Lawler, but here against Alex Morono, Morono's a guy who, while he may not be nearly as dangerous as Robbie Lawler or some of these other guys, he's a guy who will hit you. He will win the small moments and he will win with volume. Morono's going to touch his chin. So if he has failed totally, if his chin is going to fail him totally, I think Morono could get a TKO here. But I do think Morono would win the small moments and comfortably win a decision. He's a guy who knows how dangerous Niko is. He was dominating the first fight, even caught him. I think he technically dropped him with a spinning back fist at the end of round one, but he definitely had him hurt, and he was winning the points battle throughout the whole fight. And then Niko just decided to put his foot on the gas and give himself a shot at a victory, and he ended up producing it, landing whatever 4 or 5 punches, and one of them clipped Morono right on the side of the head. I was going to say the button, but I think that's the button, and this is like something else. But I do favor Morono to win here. If he was to win by submission, of course, the money line covers that. So I just really bet on his money line. I don't think there's one prop that I could trust more than the others. Morono's more of a decision fighter, but Niko Price. Niko Price has 5 of his 8 losses coming via knockout. The one guy to submit Niko Price was Vicente Luque, who is fucking deadly. Wrapped him up with a Darce choke after hurting him as well. So I suppose Morono could clip him and pull a guillotine. That's more of his. That's more his move. But I still think that would be the least likely path to victory for Morono. I would have decision and knockout above submission. As for Niko Price, if he is to win this fight, it's got to be by knockout. So I'll wait for the props and see if it's worth hedging with that. But it would have to be at inflated odds. If it's close to his money line, then yeah, I'll just play Morono and feel comfortable with that. But Alex Morono is the pick. I think he's going to get the better of Niko Price in the small moments and even the big moments if there should be some. So we'll see what happens, but I think he gets his revenge here. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.